Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. The regularly scheduled council meeting for September 5th will begin shortly. Before we start the council meeting, we do have an advertised public hearing on 3 city ordinances that have been read into first reading at previous council meetings. It's going to be ordinance number 1118, 1119, and ordinance 1120. And so we will begin with public hearing on ordinance number 1118 concerning amending City Code 120, nuisance pertaining to graffiti. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre City Charter to amend City Code Section 120 titled Nuisance. Is anybody in the audience this evening here tonight to speak on ordinance 1118? Okay. Any comments from the council on 1118? Okay, without any further, Councilmember Jones.
I had a couple of comments on that particular ordinance. I was a little bit concerned and wanted to talk more about some of the penalties for folks who were caught. And I just felt like some of the penalties were a little stiff, and maybe we could have some flexibility there with those.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, without any further comments, the public hearing on ordinance 1118 is now closed. The time is 7:04. Okay, public hearing on ordinance 1119 concerning approving a deed transferring surplus property to Habitat for Humanity Susquehanna, Inc. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E, the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the Havre City Charter, section 75, to approve a deed transferring surplus property to Habitat for Humanity Susquehanna, Incorporated. Is there anybody in the audience this evening who is here to speak on ordinance 1119? Are there comments from the council on ordinance 1119?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Martin. I think this is a great opportunity for the city to actually go ahead and annex this property for Habitat for Humanity. Stand behind this 100%. Habitat for Humanity. I misspoke, but thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Boger. Any other further questions or comments? Okay, without any further comments, I now declare public hearing on ordinance 1119 closed. The time is 7:05. Our final public hearing on ordinance 1120 concerning approving the budget amendment 2024-01 to carry forward fiscal year 2023 capital projects and reallocations of funds. This will be an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre by the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Section 37 of the Havre City Charter for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address designating carryover fund balances and the reallocation of funds for the city of Havre for fiscal year 2024. Is anybody in the audience this evening here to speak on ordinance 1120? Okay. Are there any comments from the council on ordinance 1120? Okay, without any further questions or comments, I now declare public hearing on ordinance 1120 to be closed. The time is now 7:06. Okay. We'll begin our meeting. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The date is September 25th, 2023. The time is now 7:07. I call to order a meeting of the Havre Mayor and City Council. Could get a roll call here. Let's see here. Council President Ringsager.
Here.
Councilmember Robertson.
Here.
Councilmember Jones.
Here.
Councilmember Boyer.
Here.
Councilmember Shanegas.
Here.
Councilmember Boger.
Here.
All council members are present and accounted for. Could I please ask everyone to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance and the opening prayer? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If I could kindly ask everyone to remain standing, as it's always a pleasure to invite Reverend Dr. Lynn Humphreys-Russ of Hopewell United Methodist Church to the podium to give us the opening prayer. Welcome.
And equally a pleasure to be here. Thank you all. Please bow your heads and pray with me. Almighty God, the nights are getting longer. Maybe the days will get cooler soon. As change happens and the world turns, guide these men and women of the City Council and the citizenry of Havre de Grace to turn to you. Guide them as they question and search for answers to better govern our city. Guide them in the daily challenges of rising costs, climate change, social and political upheaval all around. Guide all who are gathered here tonight by leading them to hearts of cooperation and community care. Bless all who are here and all the work they do. May your light shine upon them as they work for the betterment of our city. Your people throughout Havre de Grace pray to you by many names. Tonight, I pray to you in the mighty name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here. Appreciate your words. Item 5, approval of the minutes, City Council meeting minutes of August 21st, 2023. Council have a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Jones, seconded by Councilmember Shanegas. Questions or comments on the minutes? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Sorry, a little spider. Sorry, walking right across my, sorry about that. I got them. City Council meeting minutes of August 21st, 2023 are approved 6-0 in the affirmative. Okay, item number 6 is going to be comments from citizens. So this is the part of the council meeting. If you're here to speak on an agenda item, now's the time to do so. But also, if you're here to speak on any other matter of city business, now's the time to do so as well. Normally, what I do as standard practice, if anybody filled a form out, I'll call on those speakers first, and then I'll open the floor up to anybody who wants to speak. Just want to remind folks, if you're here representing yourself and not like an organization, like a nonprofit organization, we try to keep our comments between 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, so I'd like to call forward Ms. Carolyn Zinner. Welcome back, Councilmember Zinner.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to be back. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, council members. I'm here on behalf of the Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy, and I am now president of that austere group of 8 members on behalf of the Martha Lewis. And as many of you know, it's been a trial by error, pretty much, getting her ready to come back up the bay. And she's pretty close to that point now. I did want to talk a little bit about some of the repairs and work that's been done in the past 5 months or so. And also ask you to remember that we only have about 4 men who are on the job to do those things. I go down to help, but it's mostly sanding and repainting and things like that. I can't make rigging, I can't hoist the bosun's chair and things like that. So I do what I can, but we are very short on regular help. And you have to drive to Cambridge and either stay overnight or drive back. So it's not easy to get volunteers from Havre de Grace to come down and do that. So at any rate. So that is part of the reason it's been such a slow process. But I want to talk about what we've done since March. There's been a repair to the bow of Martha with new staves. The bottom's been caulked, the bottom's been painted, and new wiring has been constructed and installed. There's been new wiring on the splash, and the boat was splashed Memorial Day weekend. Since that time, the mast has been stepped. An individual built the rigging and installed it. The mast has been wired. We secured insurance policies for liability for board members and crew, and secured an umbrella policy, our umbrella policy renewals. We also secured port insurance for passenger liability and damage to the Martha Lewis. We've completed repairs to the push boat. We've caulked and repainted the bottom. We'll be doing that again this week. Maintenance was conducted on the push boat, and we obtained a certification of fitness for the insurance company. On the docket is we have ordered a Garmin GPS depth finder. We've ordered a lifeboat. We had received new life jackets as part of a previous grant, and we'll be stenciling them. We have to purchase new flares because the ones we have are dangerously out of date. And we have to place ballast in the boat, and we located our ballast at Havre Grace shipyard, and we are going to maybe purchase more. And once we get back to Havre Grace, we have a commitment from the Maritime Museum that they will help us prep for the certification of inspection. So we plan to be moving as quickly as possible, and I'm very grateful for the opportunity to bring Martha home to Havre Grace. And we have gotten a lot of comments during First Friday, people asking us when, but we haven't given a date because we sort of promised each other that we would not give any dates until we were absolutely sure. We don't want to create any misinformation, considering the history and the 11 years she's been out of the water. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time and your consideration on this ordinance.
Thank you, Carolyn. Appreciate the background.
Any questions?
Any questions?
All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, that was the only pre-filled out form I had. I'll open the floor up to anybody who wishes to speak. Any comments from council? Okay, not any further comment. We'll go on to item number 7. Item number 7 is appointments. This evening, we have no appointments this evening. Item 8 is recognitions, and boy, do we have a recognition tonight. So this is going to be a recognition of one of our finest police officers we have at the Havre Grace Police Department, a guy the whole community knows well, near and dear to their heart. You see him at every event, whether he's wearing regular clothes or his uniform, because he supports everything Havre Grace and has a heart the size of Montana. So, Chief, would you like to join me down in the well? And as we call Captain Joseph Alton up to the center, please.
I also want to add to that, too, that he's a fantastic wiffle ball player.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, there is an award that is granted every year. Let me get this name right of the award. It's the Do Good Heroes Award. And we're very, very proud of Joe Alton, Captain Alton, for receiving this award. But I had very little to do with it other than a letter of recommendation. The mastermind behind this plot was the chief. And I'd like the chief just to give the background of what the award is and the process, the reason why we wanted Captain Alton to win it, and then I'll let Captain Alton speak.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mayor. In the beginning of July, I was contacted by a gentleman by the name of Ryan Benkin, and he's a financial analyst for National Life Group. And one of the things that National Life Group wanted to do is they want to really recognize first responders. firefighters, EMS, police, those types of folks. So he asked me whether or not I had anybody in my police department that we thought does a lot in the community, really does a lot to support the community, bolster the community, that type of thing. I went, well, yes, I do. And the first person that actually came to my mind, because we have so many officers that do so much, Sergeant Pets, the school resource officers, but the first person that actually came to my mind was Captain Alton, Joe Alton. That's because Captain Alton, for as long as I've known him, has been involved with Special Olympics Maryland. He does a phenomenal job with everything from the polar bear plunge to the torch run. When he was with Maryland Transportation Authority Police, he helped to organize the tunnel run, of which I ran that one year, and that's kind of creepy. I don't care what you say. And all of this is to raise funds for Maryland athletes that have intellectual disabilities, because the captain loves everything Special Olympics. And he started out many, many years ago while you were at Transportation Authority Police, just volunteering to help fundraise and to help the athletes any way that he could, whether it be at the summer games or the winter games, that type of thing, either handing out awards or just hugging people or just doing anything that he could to fundraise to help, again, support our Maryland athletes. And over that 15-year period, he's raised about $250,000. So that's a phenomenal amount of money. It really, really is. So it's not uncommon to see him making videos. This last one for the polar bear plunge, a gentleman who owns the 7-Eleven on Warren Street allowed the good captain to get into his freezer. And, you know, and it was like he was, no pun intended, warming up for the polar bear plunge. So he does those kinds of things. He also, during our COVID year, when they weren't having the formal polar bear plunge, the captain's like, oh no, that's not gonna happen. We are gonna have our polar bear plunge at the Great Susquehanna. So he managed to get that all put together. The mayor plunged. And I think you were right, Mayor, it was the coldest day that he selected.
The water felt warm.
Yes, the water did feel warm. So, but just in 1 hour alone, just with people walking by or hearing what we were doing, he raised $5,000. So again, that's really, really phenomenal. So, so of course for me, he was the choice for the Do Good Heroes Award. Now with that, just real quick, if he is selected in December for being the overall statewide Do Good Hero, they will actually be donating $5,000 to Special Olympics Maryland in the captain's name. So that's really, and you don't even have to plunge for that. So, WBAL TV also came out and recognized him, recognized our city. So Mayor, thank you very much for also supporting this. It's amazing, so we do really appreciate it.
Absolutely, Chief. Well, again, I thank you for coming up with the idea. And, you know, we have a lot of heroes that work for the city of Havre, Grace, and you picked a great one. Captain Alton, I know you're a man that doesn't like the spotlight, but I was wondering if you could just give us a couple words about, you know, the surprise you felt when they came in and gave you this award. And there was a really nice little segment on WBL Channel 11 News last week. I think it's last week or week before that. But oh wow, excellent. So
Found that part out. No.
so tell us when you found out about it.
Well, we found out about CNN Friday. Yeah, Friday CNN called. BAL showed up just for the actual formal announcement that we did in regards to be clear, I rarely am usually not one to like just shy away, but, or I should say usually, see, you'll get me talking, like, you know, and then I won't shut up.
Mike is yours.
Yeah, no, but the chief kind of said it, I mean, and I'll just say to the audience, obviously here and at home, Special Olympics did not begin with law enforcement. Special Olympics, quite honestly, I could give you the whole story. In 1980, chief of police in Kansas created the torch run. Multi-millions of dollars have been raised. Literally, I am one very. I do appreciate the recognition. I said before, it's not about recognition, it's about spreading. create a world of inclusive people that, you start getting me started. It's just about making it just a little bit better. Just a little bit better. And I do get choked up. It is something that it does mean a lot. Back to the chief. See, I'll try to spin this. When I signed my papers in 2018 to accept, she was like, "Hey, you know that Special Olympics thing you do?" And I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "Do I got to give it up?" She's like, "No, we want you to do it here." I had a conversation not too long ago with Councilman Robertson about the fact that Dan Petz, I just heard his name, we get to recruit. So like what I do now, I'm like a guy and so forth. But we get to bring the local perspective out in like guys like Dan Petz who can run with this, because let's face it, I don't run anymore. Right? And so yeah, so that's truly what it's all about. I'm gonna go long-winded, and so just tell me to shut up.
Just tell everybody what everything we need to know about Special Olympics and your involvement.
The shortest, I'll give you the shortest of it. Obviously, polar bear plunge is getting ready. So there'll be a huge fun drive. We will all be doing it. We're all gonna do it, right? It's not complicated, right? So yeah, we're all gonna do it. Yeah. So we will have a team once again. The police department will have a team once again. If you want to plunge, donate. Just donate. So yeah. So but that's all. I mean, yeah. And there'll be a number of events that. Thank you to Taha down at 7-Eleven. Plug him, because he let me come in and climb inside of his ice machine. We got him some, yeah. I don't know, that's about it.
Well, that's a lot. Well, like I say, you said it's about spreading the word, but, if citizens like you didn't exist, these things wouldn't be possible. So it's like, I know you're a humble man, Joe, but we're very proud of you. You know what I mean? And we all feel that way. Councilmember Boyer is the chair of public safety. You have any comments? Or?
I just want to say Joe is one of my neighbors, a really great neighbor. And as a Havre Gration, the way things get done around Havre Grace is somebody steps up and volunteers to do it, and then we all support them. Well, thank you for stepping up repeatedly, time after time, and being that person that kids run to, because that's what a hero is. So thank you.
President? Good. Well, Captain Alton, I'm going to read this into the record, but I would appreciate if your family came up here when I did this, if you wouldn't mind.
And both of them have plunged as well, just so you know.
See you all. Christina, it's good to see you. Good to see you. City of Havre de Grace, Maryland, Office of the Mayor, Certificate Recognition Award to Captain Joseph Alton. Whereas Do Good Heroes is a program in which Ensure National Life Group recognizes fire rescue, EMS, police departments, and personnel for their community service activities that go above and beyond their public safety duties. And whereas Captain Alton became a member of the Havre de Grace Police Department in 2018 after he retired from the Maryland Transportation Authority Police Department. Whereas Captain Alton was first introduced to the Special Olympics Maryland while in law enforcement at the Maryland Transportation Authority Police Department, where he started by simply volunteering and fundraising to support the athletes. Whereas that began as a simple act of kindness, became a burning desire for him to grow the Special Olympic movement at the Maryland Transportation Authority Police Department and then Havre de Grace Police Department. And whereas Captain Alton has been involved with the law enforcement torch run for Special Olympics Maryland for over 15 years, has served as his agency coordinator and state regional coordinator, has been the lead on many fundraising events like the Polar Bear Plunge, Tunnel Run, has raised over $250,000 through fundraising events and with annual t-shirt sales, and not only commits himself to fundraising funds for Special Olympics Maryland, but attends both the summer and winter games to present awards to the athletes. Therefore, whereas Captain Alton loves his community and is always working for his community to make it better, and whereas Captain Alton was recognized and honored with the Do Good Heroes nomination, therefore I, William T. Martin, Mayor of the City of Havre de Grace, along with the members of the Havre de Grace City Council, proudly recognize Captain Alton for his achievements, dedication, and service to the Special Olympics Maryland and to the City of Havre de Grace. Sir, thank you for everything. Picture. Council, can we get all those pictures? Big fat family.
Good job. Thank you.
We will proceed with our agenda. Item number 9, proclamations. This evening, we have no proclamations. Item 10 this evening is presentations, and we have no presentations this evening also. So we will go into resolutions, and we have two charter resolutions that we'll be introducing this evening. The first one's going to be charter resolution concerning amending charter sections pertaining to a council meeting location and time, and that would go under the jurisdiction of the council president.
Mr. Mayor, Council, citizens, I move to introduce a charter resolution concerning amending charter sections pertaining to the council meeting location and time for first reading.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Robertson. This is a motion to introduce a charter resolution. Question or comments on the motion to introduce? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce a charter resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre, Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and the Havre Grace City Charter, Sections 19, to amend City Charter, Sections 28 and 31, generally pertaining to the location and time of meetings of the Mayor and City Council. Council, this be known as Charter Resolution number, bless you, Charter Resolution number 296, number 296. Council, I have a motion to adopt the charter resolution.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Boyer, seconded by the council president. Questions or comments? Council president.
So the purpose of this is, if everybody remembers the storm we had, was it like August 7th, somewhere around there, the first meeting of last month, where we had to cancel it because of the big storm and everything. This gives us the ability to move to, in case of a like an emergency, to move the meeting time or location. So it's giving us the authority per the charter to do that. That's the only purpose of that.
Thank you, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Also, just has another purpose as well. With the votes, 4 council votes, if the council ever wanted to have an off-site council meeting. We've done it in the past. Years ago, we would do something where we would have a council meeting at the Maritime Museum, or a council meeting at American Legion, Bully Rock Residence Center. Sometimes we haven't done it in a few years after COVID, but we would do a couple times a year, we would go to off-sites, just to try to get more public participation, because technically speaking, anywhere you have 4 assembled council members, they can vote on something. That's why it's, the Open Meetings Act. But we were thinking, we don't have anywhere planned yet, but this also helps that, makes it easier to do. Instead of pass a resolution, makes it easier for council to vote in public to say, yes, we might have an off-site meeting somewhere, just to get public participation. So that's kind of what this does as well at the same time. So, so this is a charter resolution for reading. I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer, second by the Council President. Any further questions or comments? Okay, I'll do a roll call vote on this charter resolution. Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
Council President Ringsager?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, Charter Resolution number 296 is adopted on first reading. And the public hearing, this isn't...
October 2nd.
October 2nd. I thought it had it's a longer advertisement requirement.
Right, we'll advertise it in the paper on the 8th of September, and then again on the 29th, and it'll come up for public hearing on the 2nd. Following meeting, it'll go to second read.
Gotcha. Okay. October 2nd. Yes.
I just have a question. When you bring that up, we're publicizing it in the paper, right? But
Yes, ma'am.
let's be honest. The paper really isn't very well read. Or do we do it other ways other than just the paper?
Yeah, so we, by law, we have to post in the paper. That's what we have to do. But it's also put on our social media, on our website, and pushed out on our Facebook page, and
Okay.
as we do with all of the public hearings
Thank you.
and notifications.
Okay, public hearing on October 2nd. Item B, a charter resolution concerning amending sections pertaining to public ways, sidewalks, and water and sewers. And this will go to Department of Public Work Committee Chair, Councilmember Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to introduce a resolution pertaining to public ways, sidewalks, and water and sewers.
Thank you very much. Council, I have a
Second.
motion by Councilmember Jones. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Shenanigans. This is an introduction of a charter resolution. Are there any questions or comments on the introduction of this resolution? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion introduced. Charter resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. Council, this will be Charter Resolution 297. A charter amendment resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, adopted pursuant to the authority of the Maryland Constitution, Article 11E, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and the Havre de Grace City Charter, Section 19, to amend City Charter Section 65, 66, 67, and 68, generally pertaining to public ways, sidewalks, and water and sewers. Council, I have a motion to adopt Charter Resolution 297 on first reading.
Second.
Is that a motion?
That's a motion.
Okay, motion by Councilmember
Move.
Boger. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Council President. Questions or comments? Councilmember Boyer?
I just want to ask the question, what, on behalf, for the public so they can understand, the purpose of this resolution, why do we need it, and what will it solve?
So a couple things. Some years ago, the Department of Public Works was created. There wasn't really the express powers in order to execute some of the requirements of that department. And this is, again, part of our charter review and code review that Mr. Rachinsky's been working on. If you go back into the annals of the city government, whenever a sidewalk would get replaced or a road bed would be replaced or added, it would come back to the city council for approval to do those type of projects. And it's just sort of counterproductive to the way we've been operating. So in order to get the charter cleaned up and the express power is designated, that's why we're adding this into the charter.
And just again, for clarification for everyone, that we will be seeing more items like this as we go through and clean up our charter moving forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Any other questions or comments? Okay, this is Charter Resolution 297. Roll call vote. Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Charter Resolution 297 is adopted on first reading, and I take it the public hearing also be October 2nd on that? Okay, public hearing on this will be October 2nd. Thank you, Council. We will move to ordinances. We have a few ordinances here this evening. Item A, ordinance number 1116, concerning adopting truck traffic work group. And that's going to go to Councilmember Boyer, who's not only the chair of the Public Safety Committee, but also ran the whole truck traffic work group. So why don't you introduce it for us?
Thank you. Well, I move that we introduce ordinance 1116 concerning the adoption of the truck traffic work group's recommendations, amending City Code 190-21 for second reading.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Boyer. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by the Council President. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1116 on second reading. Are there comments on the motion to introduce? All those in favor say aye.
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 All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1116 for second reading carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter to adopt truck traffic work group recommendations and to amend City Code 190-21. Council, I have a motion to adopt ordinance 1116 on second reading.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Council Member Boyer, and it's seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President?
Councilwoman Boyer, could you note some of the recommendations from the work group?
Absolutely. So the recommendations include designating a map that shows not only where the recommended truck routes are throughout our city, but identifies the roads where they are not allowed to be, recommends signage, and I think the truck map, the correct signage, and the locations of the signage is what it recommends. So that's it.
Thank you, Councilmember Boyer. Council President, anything else? Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Shenanigans?
I just want to say I commend you for your efforts, Councilwoman Boyer, for coming up with a opportunity for our council and community members to get together and develop this. A solution to a problem always makes out for great plans, and I look forward to seeing everything come to fruition. So thank you.
Thank you.
Any further questions or comments? I also want to say echo as well done, running the committee. We passed the ordinance. We picked up the ball, we ran with it. We put members together on the committee, and you guys came back with a great recommendation. So well done. Good job. Thank you very much, Councilmember Boyer.
On the rim and out the door. That's my motto.
That's right, on the road out the door. Okay, we will do a roll call vote on 1116. Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger. Yes. Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, ordinance 1116 concerning adopting the truck traffic work group recommendations is adopted by council on second reading. Item B, ordinance 1117 concerning approving a contract with Think Big Networks, LLC. This is going to be a second reading for ordinance 1117, and this one goes to the council president.
Mr. Mayor, Council, I move to introduce ordinance number 1117 concerning approving a contract with Think Big Networks, LLC for second reading and adoption.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. This is a motion to introduce ordinance 1117 on second reading. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1117 on second reading is adopted, or is approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. This is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, a local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and Sections 33 and 34 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to approve contract with Think Big Networks, LLC. Council, to have a motion to adopt ordinance 1117 on second reading.
So moved.
A motion by Councilmember Boger, seconded by Councilmember Shenegis. Questions or comments? Council President?
Yeah, we're super excited about this. I hate Comcast, and I'm just happy to have an option, finally, to cut the cord and actually have decent internet service that
Your bill just went up.
Hey, well, it can't go up much more, I'm telling you. You know, when the afternoon rolls around and everybody gets home from work and our bandwidth drops and, you know, I can't, you know, go on and do my even my council work or stuff for, you know, scouts or football or just, you know, browsing the internet because there's no service. And, you know, what we're paying for is just not worth it. But to get the opportunity to have a company like Think Big to come in here and give us the option to have something else with fiber optic, you know, gig up, gig down, speed. Just, we're super excited about it. We know that we have plans, you know, for internet downtown and a few other places, and I think that this is going to be a nice equalizer for a lot of families on budgets that'll help them with their kids having ability to have internet at home. People now that struggle paying that, you know, $300 Comcast bill. And you know, I think it's just a wonderful thing when they came to us about this proposal that we can, you know, extend out for the community. So I do have additions to the contract to be read by the city attorney.
Yes, and from the time the first reading was done on the ordinance, we were able to have some additional negotiations with Think Big to clarify a few portions of the agreement. So in addition to a couple of friendly amendments with some typos or clarification of style, I just wanted to go over the substantive additions that are in, and/or deletions, if you don't mind, Council President. So if you look at the paragraph, let's see, section, I'm not dealing with that same. So it's basically going to be Exhibit 1, which is the lease. And if you go to the end of the introduction, no, Exhibit 1, which is the lease agreement itself. Exhibit 1 to the ordinance, I'm sorry. I'll go from your draft. Yeah, next page. Okay, so I'm working from Exhibit 1. I'm working from an online version because mine's on a different copy. But if you go to the, where it has the definitions under Section 1, so prior to the end of definitions, which is your line 126, basically after segment end and before subscriber, there'll be a new definition called storage lease. So that will be new Roman numeral 26. And storage lease, the definition will be the lease applicable to the storage of Think Big materials and equipment on city property during the installation phase of Think Big fiber optic network within the municipal limits of the city of Havre de Grace. Now, for clarification, this does not these amendments don't have to be approved specifically because our ordinance says the mayor will sign an agreement substantially in the form attached here too. So these are just additional clarifications, so I'm reading them into the record for that purpose. A copy of this revised agreement will be available in the public record after the meeting as part of tonight's meeting. So that would be an addition there. There's another addition we made. Under government approvals, I added the language city, county, and state approvals to make clear it was multiple jurisdictions.
That's line 172.
Yes, that would be under section 3.3. Yeah, that would be line 173 in that provision. And then under section 4, which would be line 242, after the word city, I added some additional language that was acceptable to Think Big, that notwithstanding that Think Big is not required under this agreement to supply the city with any optical or electronic equipment to activate the dark fiber, the parties reserve the right to negotiate installation of equipment and/or wireless and remote access services that Think Big may be able to supply to the city to activate the Wi-Fi hotspots anticipated under this agreement at rates equal to or below rates paid by Think Big's commercial customers for similar equipment or services. Because after some discussion with Think Big, we realized that they might be able to provide some of these services rather than us going out to a third party. So we left it open that we could have additional service contracts with them in addition to the dark fiber that's under this agreement. Let's see, and then under section 4.4, compliance with other laws, we added a section, an additional sentence. The parties agree that if the city were to lease such dark fiber on the open market, the cost to do so would be in the range of, and I think the amount, it's in another section, but it needs to be filled in, about $360,000, based on a linear feet of dark fiber that will be available when the Think Big installation is complete. And then in section 4.8, which starts at year 292 in your packet, we added some additional language and took out some language. So what we took out was the city agrees to pay any non-recurring fees when the lease order form is fully executed by both parties, otherwise stated in the individual lease order form, because we determined there wasn't likely going to be any non-recurring fees under our lease the way it's drafted. So we took that out. And then the language we added was referencing the lease fees would be due on the same date Think Big's conduit fees are due as set forth in section 5.1. So as a practical matter, it's going to be like an electronic exchange of numbers because it'll be due on the same date and they'll be the equivalent amount. So the conduit fees and our lease fee will be the same amounts. And then further down at the end of that paragraph, we're adding several sentences acknowledging that the fiber lease for a term of 30 years would have a fair market value of approximately $366,600, and thus the value received by the city by having access to the dark fiber lease at the lease fee noted above exceeds the conduit fee being collected for the use of the public rights-of-way. So the point of that is that what the city is getting is actually more than what we're giving in terms of use of our rights-of-way. Also included in the lease fee, and this was a clarification, is Think Big's obligation to maintain a 24/7 response line and capability, response to and fix any damage to the fiber optic cables, and maintain the entire fiber optic cable network, which ordinarily would cost approximately $250,000 annually. Additional locate fees, which include the cost to locate fiber optic cable for missed utility tickets, missed utility response line and capability, and dispatch calls for locate services, are also included in the city's dark lease fee. So again, that's clarification that what the city's getting is of value to the citizens. So those were the main changes. There were a couple of minor typos. Oh wait, there was another thing. Those are the main changes on the existing lease. We also added a new section 3. I'm sorry, 5.3. 5.3. So if you go to section 5, there's a brand new section 5.3, and what 5.3 does is it allocates property at the wastewater treatment plant for Think Big to use as a leased area to store their equipment and materials, as a staging area for them to do the install. So the term of the lease is 3 years. It has a 1-year renewable option for 3 more additional years. And it's at the price of $1 per square foot, which is our current lease fee under the 20-20, Resolution 2020-21. So the term of that is in there, and that will also be included as part of the draft that I'm going to circulate. That'll be part of the public record, and it's similar to our regular leases. And they're also required to provide insurance, and there's some provisions so that there wouldn't be any hazardous waste, and all other permits would be needed. So that's the nature of that addition, the additions to that agreement. It will be available for reading after this meeting. But if anybody has any questions you want to ask me about, I can try and help you.
Council, questions for Ms. Ishak?
I just had a quick question there, Mayor. So so in 5.3, in paragraph 5.3, which I don't see in the reading, this is the lease for the DPW from the August to, is reoccurring from August to August.
It will be, the first term will be 3 years from August to August, from August and then expire 3 years from that expiration, and then additional renewal periods for 1-year terms from August to August for 3 more times. Anything after that will come back to council for approval.
Okay, no, fantastic. Thank you, ma'am. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Booker. Any other questions for Ms. Ishak? Okay. Council, is there anyone wish to make a motion to approve Ms. Ishak's suggested amendments?
Mr. Mayor, Council, I thought we'd said that we don't need a motion to approve them?
The technicality is you don't need to approve all of the amendments because the ordinance says that the mayor can execute agreement substantially in the form attached here too. So I shared with council the substantive additions to the agreement. So when they pass the ordinance tonight, they're aware of what those additional items are.
So would you rather just leave it alone without the approval of council, or?
No, the amendments themselves don't need approval of council.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Just the fact that they need knowledge of what's going in this agreement that wasn't included in the original draft.
So the amendments to the agreement don't need approval of council.
It's the
just
lease
simply
agreement.
the ordinance that we have.
Correct,
yeah.
correct. In terms of the actual amendment, correct.
Okay, got you. Got it. Fair enough then. Then we're still under the question.
Yes.
For ordinance 1117, any further questions or comments? Okay. Council, we're going to do a roll call on ordinance 1117 concerning approving a contract with Think Big Networks LLC. Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shanegas.
Yes.
Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1117 is adopted and approved by council on second reading.
I think I'd love to see everything that you just said in black and white. It'd be good. I'd
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Go to item number C, ordinance 1120. Budget amendment, second reading. Ordinance, Councilmember Robertson.
Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, I move to introduce ordinance 1120. Second reading.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Boyer. Just a motion to introduce ordinance 1120 on second reading concerning a budget amendment 2024-01. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce ordinance 1120 carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This council is an ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace by the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, the local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, and the Section 37 of the Havre de Grace City Charter for the purpose of amending the city budget for fiscal year 2024 to address designating carryover fund balances and reallocations of funds for the city of Havre de Grace for fiscal year 2024. Council have a motion to adopt ordinance 1120 on second reading.
So moved.
Second?
Motion by the council president, seconded by Councilmember Shenanigans. Questions or comments? Okay, we'll do a roll call vote on ordinance 1120. Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
Council President?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1120 concerning approving Budget Amendment 2024-01 is adopted and approved by council. That's all good, man.
Punctuation.
All good. We're going to roll on to item D, and this is going to be a new ordinance for a first reading concerning a lease with the Martha Lewis and Councilmember Shenanigans.
Mayor, Council, I move to introduce ordinance concerning authorizing a lease agreement with Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy for the Skipjack Martha Lewis in the first reading.
Second.
Council, I have a motion by Councilmember Shenanigans, seconded by the Council President. This is a motion to introduce an ordinance concerning a lease with the Martha Lewis. And this is the introduction. Any question on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce an ordinance carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This will be known as Ordinance 1121. An ordinance by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, adopted pursuant to the authority of Article 11E of the Maryland Constitution, a local government article of the annotated Code of Maryland, sections 33, 34, and 36 of the Havre de Grace City Charter, to approve a dock lease between the city and the Chesapeake Heritage Conservancy, Incorporated, for the use of Hutchins Park Pier. Council to have a motion to adopt Ordinance 1121 on first reading.
So moved.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilmember Robertson, seconded by Councilmember Shenanigans. Questions or comments for the roll call vote? Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes, this lease will allow for us to offer dockage space, and electric facilities at the Hutchins Park Pier for the boating season of 23 and 24. It will also provide it for the seasons at no cost. With this, going into it, there will be educational opportunities with cruises that will include 6 dates for the public, with the ability to have 12 guests attend the adventure. And with that, after the 2003 and 4 end, then the lease agreement will continue, and the Conservancy will pay the established slip rates for the Hutchins Park Pier going forward. So I think it's a win-win, especially bringing history of sailing and a ship that has had a 25-year adventure back to Havre de Grace. And I thank Councilwoman Zenner for bringing information and presenting that to the public. I can't wait to see it actually here and having opportunities to learn more about it hands-on. So I think it's a great opportunity.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenanigans.
Thank
Any
you,
other
Mayor.
questions or comments? Council, we're going to do a roll call vote on 1121 on first reading. Council President?
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson?
Yes.
Councilmember Jones?
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer?
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Yes.
And Councilmember Boger?
Yes.
By roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative, City Council Ordinance 1121 concerning a lease agreement with the Martha Lewis is adopted on first reading. And we will have our public hearing at the next council meeting, which is the
19th.
not the 18th.
18th?
18th.
Sorry. I looked 2 weeks from today.
You think it's Monday also, don't you?
Yep.
Yeah, me too.
Absolute all day.
I know all day I've been thinking it's Monday. The public hearing on ordinance 1121 will be at the next council meeting on September 18th. And our last, actually that was it for ordinances. We have old business, item 13. And we have a calendar resolution concerning correcting the public record for annexation resolutions. And this document goes to the council president.
Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, I move to introduce calendar resolution concerning correcting the public record for annexation resolution charter amendment number 291.
Council, I have a motion by the council president. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Councilmember Shenanigans. This is a motion to introduce a calendar resolution concerning correcting the public record for annexation. Questions or comments on the introduction? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion to introduce a counter resolution carries 6-0 in the affirmative. This is Resolution 2023-14. 2023-14, a resolution by the Mayor and City Council of Havre de Grace, Maryland, pursuant to the general provisions article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, sections 4-502, the local government article of the Annotated Code of Maryland, and sections 33 and 34 of the city charter for correction of the public record known as Annexation Resolution, Charter Amendment number 291. Council, I have a motion to adopt a calendar resolution 2023-14.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Boger, seconded by the Council President. Questions or comments? Council President?
This is a pretty simple resolution. We're correcting a typo. So it's supposed to be, what is it, R1 in the annexation resolution, and it says it's R district. So it actually changes a few of the requirements, and everywhere else in the annexation documents, it actually says R1, but in our resolution, it says, our annexation resolution, it actually says R district. So we're actually correcting our typo, changing it to R1. That's simple.
Thank you very much, Council President. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Roll call vote. Councilmember Boger.
Yes.
Council President.
Yes.
Councilmember Robertson.
Yes.
Councilmember Jones.
Yes.
Councilmember Boyer.
Yes.
Councilmember Shenanigans.
Yes.
A roll call vote of 6-0 in the affirmative. Calendar Resolution 2023-14 is adopted. Thank you, Council. We're going to go to new business, item 14, special events. Mr. Gambatory, Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And we got here very quickly tonight. See if I can keep the pace up. The 3 events this evening. The first one's the Autumn Fest. The Autumn Fest is sponsored by the Havre de Grace Maritime Museum. On-site contact person will be Jennifer Sin. They are a 501c3. The event will occur on the 8th of October. Setup will be at 7 a.m. The event is 10 a.m. to 5 p.m., cleanup at 6 p.m., no rain date. And this will be at the Havre de Grace Maritime Museum on the concrete pad and over at the Lighthouse Keeper's Lawn directly across from 100 Lafayette. About 150 people are expected. Maps are within your packet and also the costing sheet. Council, you may recall that they had submitted to have the event the same day as Oktoberfest, and then they pulled their application and moved the date. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gambatory. Council, I have a motion to approve the Autumn Fest.
Second?
I have a motion by Councilmember Jones, second by Councilmember Shenanigans. Questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Autumn Fest, October 8, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Maritime Museum and Lighthouse Keepers Grounds. Approved, 6-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatori.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council, the next event is the annual Halloween costume contest, sponsored by the Havre Grace Rec Council. Contact person will be Jim Nemeth. They are 501c3. The event will take place on the 30th of October. Setup is at 4:30. The event is from 5 to 8:30 with a cleanup of 9:30. There is no rain date. The event will take place on Washington Street between Congress Avenue and Pennington. About 300 participants. There is a road map depicting the location in which the stage will be set up at Congress and Washington, and then the closure of the street for the youngsters to be able to walk around and get up on the stage, show off their costumes. And also the costing sheet is included. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Gamatori. Council, want to approve the Halloween costume contest?
So moved.
Second.
I think I captured the council president, Councilman Roberts, on that one. Questions or comments?
It's not just children that get up on that stage.
We're all youngsters at heart.
Council President?
So it's my understanding, just to reiterate, the stage is going to be on Congress and Washington, right?
Correct.
Correct. We had it last year on Pennington. People didn't like it. It was sort of cramped in there. We want to go back to the old, the parade around down in front of the shops and everything. So just a lot more room, and that way we can shut stuff off better and have better control of the kids, keep them safe. So, thank you.
Thank you very much, Council President. Councilmember Boyer?
I have a question. Are we going to be closing off additional streets during this event, other than just that one block?
The road closures are listed, Franklin from Union to St. John, Pennington from Lodge Lane to St. John, and Washington to Congress through St. John and Franklin.
I see it now, okay.
Any other questions? Okay. Halloween. All in favor say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Boo.
All again say nay. I'm with you. Okay.
Jimmy O. Burrell gave a thumbs up too. I think he voted in the affirmative.
Annual Halloween costume contest, October 30th, 2023, 5 p.m. to 8:30 p.m., Washington Street between Congress Avenue and Pennington Avenue. This event is approved by council, 6-0 in the affirmative. Mr. Gamatori.
So, Mr. Mayor, if I may, I go back to Councilmember Boyer's comment. So I was actually reading the road closures off the next event, not this event. So the road closures are stated as Washington Street between Congress and Pennington, and then no parking in the same location. So if council wishes to have additional streets closed, we need to list them here. My apologies.
Any appetite, or are we fine with it?
That's the old way. Yeah, that's good.
Yep, okay.
But remember, that was when we were having a problem with kids in the dark running back and forth across the streets, and all of the downtown merchants were handing out candy, and it was a little bit of chaos there for a little while. Is there?
Well, what are you thinking of? I mean, what?
Well, that was the year before last when it was on Pennington, and that area of Washington wasn't closed, so kids were coming down Pennington, I think, pouring out to an active street. And I think last year they actually closed that section of Washington, so it wasn't as bad.
We did. Chief, you may want to comment, because I know during the application process, there's a lot of conversation with your department.
Right. What we found is actually, Councilman Robertson is correct, because the way it was when they originally changed it, it did cause a lot of confusion for the kids trick-or-treating and that type of thing, whereas before, when they were trick-or-treating, when we had it the old way, it was fine. And then the officers also noticed last year that almost no kids were down there at all.
Okay.
It was just dark, parents weren't allowing their kids down there, that type of thing. So that's why we're going back to the original,
Okay.
how it's been for years.
And if need be, on the spot, you could,
Yeah, we can
Close
make
it
that
down.
adjustment. That's
Okay.
not a problem. Yeah, we would be able to make that adjustment.
would that need a our approval to say, to give them authority to do that?
Well, the chief could,
Yeah, we would.
chief can
we
shut
would
down
do
any
that. If we
street.
saw that there was a
Yeah.
hazard, we
Yeah.
would do that automatically.
Okay.
Yes.
yeah, if she felt like it got too crowded and it was too dangerous, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Not a problem. There'd be no argument from us. So,
Encouragement, in fact. There you go.
all right. Thank you, chief. Thank you, Mr. Gamatore.
Sure.
I was thinking when you said all that, I'm thinking, man, that's a lot of streets are shut down for that
Yeah,
parade.
and-
But I didn't want to say anything because I thought that's what Councilmember
No,
Boyer wanted.
and after I,
Like thinking,
after
we're
I
shutting
said
down
it,
Franklin?
after I said it, I went Franklin
Man, we're
and
going
Union.
Franklin streets.
That brings us to the Havre de Grace Ice Festival will return this year, sponsored by the City of Havre de Grace. On-site contact person will be Bambi Johnson. The setup will be Saturday, February the 3rd, starting at 8 a.m. The event will be from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m., and then a breakdown by 10 p.m. There is a rain date for Sunday. Bambi does have an overview and a very detailed map. And in case you didn't notice, there are a number of road closures here. Washington to Congress through St. John and Franklin, Pennington and Lodge Lane to St. John, and then Franklin from Union to St. John. The expectation is about 3,000 people. This has been a very well-attended event, and personally, I'm glad to see it, the city taking it back over. The costing sheet is at the end of your packet along with the map. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatore. Council, can I get approval for the Havre de Grace Ice Festival?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Motion by Councilmember Robertson and second by Councilmember Booker. Questions or comments on the Ice Festival? Councilmember Boyer.
I just want to say that last year I went to the ice festival, it was the Fire and Ice Festival in Lidditz, Pennsylvania, and ours was better, in my opinion. I mean, it was pretty, they do a lot of advertising with theirs, but all the ice sculptures that we had, far better. The only thing really cool that they had that we did not have is they had a guy who had these metal things that he would swing around that were on fire, and whips and that kind of stuff like that in a kind of spectacular display, and it was really cool at night. That was about it. So, and it was on stage. He wasn't in the crowd.
Any other questions, comments? Councilmember Shenegis?
Yes. I was at a meeting with other municipalities, and the mayor was so disappointed that we weren't having our ice festival last year and couldn't wait to find out if we were going to have it again this year. So I will be pleased to report that when we do approve it, that we will have people coming back from other cities to visit us. And it is definitely an event that has, made its mark and will be well received again. And maybe it'll bring us some nice weather as well. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much. Any other questions or comments?
No,
Councilmember Booker?
absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No, I certainly echo the comment. So the city's been doing the Ice Festival for quite some time. I always volunteer, especially for the graffiti wall. I love to see the kids do their names and so forth. And as the sun goes down, Bambi has it locked. She has this thing down to a science where they will, the team that deliver the ice sculptures will go out there and actually turn on some lights that actually go through the illumination itself. So it's very well done. Please come out there and do go into the stores while you're there. The stores will be open. There's a few new stores downtown, so we do encourage, I know the economic development team would encourage you to go into those stores as well and do some shopping. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Booker. Any other questions or comments? Well, let's hope it's cold. We've had it in January, we've had it in February, we've had it in March, and every time we have it, we get those freak warm weekends. I mean, we dream of snow at the Ice Festival, and it hasn't happened yet. Maybe we should have it in July, I don't know. But, I mean, so let's hope we get a nice, picturesque Hallmark movie quality weekend for the Ice Festival, but we're happy to have it. So all those in favor of the Ice Festival, say aye.
Aye.
All against it, say nay. Ice Festival is approved, 6-0 in the affirmative, for for February 3rd, 2024. It's going to be 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock downtown. That does it for new business. We're going to go to director reports, and we're going to start with the Director of Administration.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'd just like to congratulate Captain Alton and Chief, your whole group over there is outstanding, and Captain Alton certainly has found his home here in Havre de Grace, and not only is he everything that we thought he would be, and Captain Crass, but he is a very good neighbor. And when you share a driveway, you got to have a good neighbor, right? Think big. I'd just like to thank everyone involved. I know April within the details, and the group that was here earlier tonight, that's the leadership. This happened very quickly. We just did a simple outreach with Mark, and if they had any opportunities that they thought were here in Havre de Grace, and it just very swiftly took root. And I think what we're about to experience, whether you like Comcast or not, it's just another option. The one thing, what we're going to see fiber-wise throughout the city is each household will have the same amount of fiber coming to it that we run the entire City Hall off of. So we run City Hall, the city, not just City Hall, the city off of 1 gig. So that's pretty awesome. Now, I know as things go on, 1 gig may not, 5 or 10 years ago, 5 or 10 years from now might not be that big of a deal, but I think it's good for us. It's going to give the city a lot of opportunities. The city attorney was speaking to, there are some trade-offs. We're going to get a lot of fiber that we can take advantage of here within City Hall, the water department, wastewater, cameras, sound systems, the whole deal. So as far as the telemetry that we have from this location out is going to make our city much better and a lot more efficient over time. So very pleased that have this opportunity, and I can tell you they're going to hit the ground running. They have been taking supplies in order and kind of holding, and I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of activity over at the wastewater treatment plant tomorrow. And I spoke to the leadership. I said, if council passes it, it's not actually law until the mayor signs it, but I'm sure he'll sign it very quickly. So, and then again, the budget, Council Member Robertson, thanks for the work on that, and George and everybody. It was a pretty big rollover this year. I have to give the administration a lot of credit. We started this process in April with making sure that we had carryover for the right projects to be able to continue to do what we wanted to do. On the council side, thank you for your patience, and I know that receiving a budget, preliminary budget in April is very difficult then to have to vote on in June. So we plan on making some amends to that process the next budget cycle. And I think what we'll do is the meeting before the actual budget is voted on or introduced, we'll give you some supplemental documentation to kind of show you that gap time from April until June. So there'll still be, it's a little bit of a crapshoot because we still have, some of May and June billings coming in by the time you have to pass the budget. So there is some projections that George and his group does, but I think it'll give you a little bit, it'll hone it in a little bit better. But I do appreciate council's work on that. And then lastly, I just want to share that the Havre de Grace Arts Commission, who's been a commission of the city since I think the David Craig administration, first David Craig administration, which was in the 80s, which the Arts Commission was created. And some of the same members are still on the commission, all these years later. And what they have decided to do, and the mayor has supported their efforts, is they're going to do a project. They have raised a lot of funds over the years, and they have about $40,000 that they want to spend on a piece of artwork. And so they're getting help from a number of individuals, Bill Watson, some of the Arts Council, and the Public Art Committee. Jim McFall is helping them with a call to artists. So we're going to see the Arts Commission go out for several requests from artists to come back with some proposals, and those proposals will eventually come back to this body for selection. I think they're going to try to get kind of pare it down to 3. And so we'll pick the location and we'll pick what the piece of artwork's going to look like. So it's pretty exciting, especially for them. I think this is sort of some of their curtain call, them that are on the committee, this is their curtain call, so, and well deserved. So with that, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gamatoria. And we're going to go to Mr. Tim Borsier, the Director of Planning. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, everybody. We have August permit numbers in. We had 32 new construction permits. 26 of those are Bully Rock condos, and then 6 were other places in the city. What we're starting to notice is that between Greenway Farms and Bully Rock, that this kind of 350 to 450,000 model is still really selling. That the interest rates and inflation haven't really caused things to change much for people shopping in that area. On top of that, we had 39 other permits. 9 of those were renovations. So people are still fixing up their homes that were recently purchased, doing a lot of things to them, keeping things up. But new construction continues to move forward. The Havre de Grace Colored School Museum has approached us to get landmark status under our historic preservation ordinance. We're moving forward with that project. So in the next couple meetings, you'll start seeing things on your agenda. There might be some tweaks to our existing code. We noticed today, rather than being stricter, rather than making laws to make the law stricter, what we actually found was that the law was pretty strict, that it would require an easement, basically, if they sought landmark status. So I'd mentioned before we were trying to get certified local government status with Maryland Historical Trust, and we contacted them to see if that was the only way to go forward, and they said that they'd never seen that before, that it was a little bit too much on the strict side. So you'll start seeing some things that maybe actually loosen some of the regulations to allow places like the Colored School Museum to get landmark status and to be able to get funds, and it'll still allow us to seek certified local government status and be eligible for Maryland Historical Trust funds. So in the next couple meetings, you'll probably start seeing things on your agenda. I'll work closely with Councilmember Jones on those changes and why we're having them, and also the rest of the Planning Committee. That's it from Planning, unless you have any questions.
Councilor Schneeges.
Hello.
Hey.
Director of Planning, Tim Borsier. My question is, with the Colored School, I've noticed there is a new landmark up on Revolution that talks about when the building was erected and the history of the school. Is that included in this opportunity to do the landmark status?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that specific commemorative monument. I know they're seeking it for the school location itself, which then opens them up for additional funds. So I'm not sure who owns that monument or if that's part of the program or not, but it'll help the cause altogether.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions? Tim, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to go to Ms. Bridget Johnson, our Director of Economic Development and Tourism. Hi, Ms. Johnson.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, and citizens at home. A few updates. One, we are on schedule to release a RFP by mid-September, soliciting vendors for the planned 6-foot by 80-foot footbridge at Swan Harbor, the nature trail that will connect us to the county portion of the Swan Harbor Trail. So we expect this to be under construction in November with a December due date. The project will last approximately 6 weeks. So I will give out another reminder, but hopefully that RFP will be released next week. Wanda Boker, our economic development consultant, is researching and possibly pursuing several grants. The top two at the moment is the 2023-24 Chesapeake Gateways Network grants. That became, well, it was just announced today. We submitted for this grant last year for a project, and we were not successful in receiving the funding, so we're going to go for it again this year. So the qualifications are promoting resilient communities and landscapes through tourism, sustainability, conservation, and local economies. So look for additional information about this project in the near future, as well as we did not forget about you, Councilman Robertson. We are doing our research on the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. Information that you sent us a few months ago. The issue there is just having qualifying projects that meet up with the guidelines of the IIJA, or Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act. So we are pursuing that as well. On August 18th, we enjoyed a visit from Christine McPherson. She is with the Department of Housing and Community Development, Department of Neighborhood Revitalization, and all of that means Main Street. Our new Main Street coordinator, Pam Sickenberger, and I toured the downtown business district with Christine. And we received some good news. One, I've said this before many times from the dais. We submitted an application for expansion of our Main Street district in 2022, I'm pretty sure. That was approved. We are waiting for an official press release or paperwork from the state of Maryland, but I was given permission to speak about this because the city of Havre de Grace has been a Main Street since 2005. We have never requested an expansion. We did last year, and it was approved, and our Main Street district will expand from the bottom of Congress Avenue to Girard Street, picking up Harmerstown, the Market Street Brewery, and Bon Boys. This has been in the works for a while, and it's well needed. With the Main Street district and the expansion, it brings that area, it opens them up for additional funding and grant opportunities, such as our local facade grant. We're also received our sample Main Street logos today, so we're in the process of choosing our new signature of Havre de Grace Main Street logo, which will go on our website, social media, marketing materials, and light poles in the downtown. So additional information to come on that as well. Maryland Economic Development Week is October 23rd through the 27th. We have partnered with the Havre de Grace Chamber of Commerce. We met with them last week. We'll be meeting with them again on Thursday to discuss exactly what type of program we are going to implement during that week in terms of economic development awards, possibly a luncheon. We did that a couple years ago at the Vandiver Inn. Lori Orzowitz, our manager of tourism, is attending the Motor Coach Show on September 26th for the purpose of attracting more tour buses to Havre de Grace for day trips. We had one in about 3 weeks ago, unexpectedly. It was very nice. They were on their way from Washington, D.C. to Philadelphia. They stopped in at the Visitor Center. So for that purpose, we'd like to bring the Motor Coach buses back to Havre de Grace. Arts Across Hartford Week is September 15th through the 30th. We have a public art trolley tour scheduled for September 14th. We have tours at 11 a.m. and 6 p.m. You can RSVP at the Visitor Center. One issue is we're already sold out. So it's that much interest in these public art tours. So we'll know by Monday, September 11th, if we could add additional tours, and then we'll let people on the waiting list know, and then we'll also open it back up to the public. But we're happy to be participating in this with Hartford, with Visit Hartford. Tourism, the Office of Tourism has a newsletter and bi-weekly blog. If anyone wants to sign up, it's through explorehavredegrace.com or also any of our social media, Facebook or Instagram. Special thank you to Lori Orzowitz, Pam Sickenberger, and all of our volunteers. We had a very successful First Fridays, and it's a lot of work that goes into that event. So I just wanted to say thank you to our team. If there are no questions, Yes.
You brought up the thing about the art tour, and so my daughter has a brand new job. She's working for Erickson Senior Living as a wellness coordinator. And one of the things that she was talking about, which was very interesting, is that many times as people age, they get less engaged in their community, mainly because they just don't have the mobility for it. And then when you talk about the art tour, that just sounds like something that might be a good way of us leveraging the use of our trolleys to maybe engage seniors living in our community to get them out. There's so many. I think about the history tours that have been done, even the ghost tours that have been done. I don't know. It's just a very interesting concept there, and I think that might be another way to get people out of their houses and get them engaged within our community. Just an idea to put out there, but I don't know if there's ever a grant for something like that, but good idea.
Yeah, I don't think we necessarily need a grant for that. See, the way that it's working this year is, and probably years to come, is we take a day where our trolleys are not in service, and we only have so many trolleys, so we offer those 2 times, and we do it because we want to partner with the county. But I completely understand what you're saying, and maybe in the future if we have additional trolleys.
Just I think we're like nipping onto something that might be another way of keeping our community engaged and providing them with accessibility. I say this mainly because I remember when we were talking about the trolleys, I was talking to this older guy who was, one of the guys that sits on the park bench out in front of St. John's. And he lived in St. John's, and he said, "Oh, we're going to have a trolley that's so exciting. I haven't been down to the lighthouse in like 10 years because I can't get there." And that was just, between those 2 things, just the light bulbs there, that we have people in our community that just don't have the accessibility, and we are on the cusp of being able to provide them more accessibility. So thank you.
Any other questions for Ms. Johnson? Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Appreciate the report. Good evening, Mr. Horty. How's finance going?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, council, citizens, both here and at home. I'd like to echo Steve in thanking you for the ordinance 1120 and the approval. And the only thing that'll make it better, if I never have to issue the word supply chain disruption again, I'd be very, very happy. In terms of the financial condition of the city, the general fund has gone down just under $425,000 since my last report to just under $10.9 million. That is not unusual, given that we front load the revenue so much. During this time, and we actually got over $125,000 of revenue for last year, which were just delays from other government organizations, and but that ups our beginning balance. We got just under $70,000 in revenues for just miscellaneous odds and ends for the 2-week period, and we spent about $620,000. Hence the decline in the fund balance. Again, that kind of decline sounds fairly large, but after the property tax billing, it's going to go up and down a bit. Report by report, but it's nothing out of the ordinary. Fund 9 is up almost $630,000 to just under $1.53 million. We got over $190,000 in revenues from last year over the 2-week period. I believe most of these will start winding down to next to nothing for last year, but I want to keep you abreast of the changes. Revenues, we got over $565,000 in revenues during the period to 1.4 year to date, and we spent just under $130,000 to just over 1.1 million, hence the increase of almost $630,000 for the 2-week period. And for the Marina Fund, the fund is just over $480,000, an increase of just under $14,000 since my last report. We got $7,600 worth of beginning of the funds from last year, which, again, I think these will all start to wind down. We also earned revenues of just under 16,500 at the marina, and we spent about just under 10,500, hence the net increase of 13.6. That's been the activity since my last report, and I would certainly welcome any questions you may have.
Council, we have any questions for Mr. Doherty? George, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And welcome back, Mr. Melizer. How's Department of Public Works doing?
Thanks, Mr. Mayor. Staying busy. Appreciate it. So, my report. Good evening, Mayor, Council President, Council members. It's good to be back. I want to give a few thanks to Tim Woody, Nick Musaka, holding down the fort while I was gone. So I appreciate all their hard work and keeping up with the busy pace. So I do want to give them a special thanks. Give a few operational notes, and I'll talk about recent passing of a DPW member. This week we met with GHD to discuss the existing water model and talk about 1 to 5 year horizon, how we can phase in improvements. And I'll keep you updated on the RFP progress, the plan, the budget, the timeline to the council members. Met earlier with Councilmember Jones to discuss some of the plans for those. We'll talk about different improvements such as 800 block of Ontario that should be repaired, wrapping up by the end of the week with some pavement before Friday, hopefully, weather permitting. Last thing is, there's really no easy way to say this. We had a wastewater employee pass away this past weekend suddenly. We had a great funeral service this past weekend. I appreciate the members who showed up. I did want to give credit to the people who stood by the mayor, Chris Ritchie, Steve Yamatoria, Ken Montgomery, and Dave Watson, who were there for the family and for DPW. Well, again, I was out for surgery. Pastor Johnson did a great tribute at Zellman's this past weekend, and I just want to talk a little bit. She was very, Beth Hamilton was very quiet, caring, compassionate. Many of you know her. Just give a brief overview. Senior operator at our plant, for the citizens that didn't know. Class 4A water license, I'm sorry, 4 Class 4 water license, 5A wastewater license. Sorry, I get a little choked up. Notably, spent most of her off-duty time taking care of her loved ones and helping out, volunteering at New Faith Center, New Life Faith. And her service to the city, community, be greatly missed. Again, I just wanted to give my appreciation or thanks for her service and thank the mayor and council for their support this past weekend. So, that's all, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, EJ. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And I just want to say, too, Beth Hamilton, well, Beth Zellman, Nick's wife of Mick Zellman, who worked for the city of Havre Grace. Some might know her by her maiden name, Beth Hamilton. She worked for us for a few years. Highly qualified.
Yes.
Tremendous asset to the city. But I want it to be known that this individual, this lady, was off duty and was with her father who was visiting from Rhode Island. And they left the restaurant, and she told her dad, I need to stop by the pump station on Lafayette Street to check something out real quick, even though she was off duty, and she passed away of natural causes. But it was, working for the city when she was off the clock. And she's going to be missed by everybody, and I appreciate everything you had to say. So,
Absolutely.
It was very unexpected.
At one point in time, she was running up to 5 different facilities at one time from her previous job, so she is a great asset. Like I said, our senior operator, when Ken Montgomery was out either sick or on vacation, she held down the fort. So she will surely be missed. And I just appreciate all the sentiments, people that come to me, and prayers to Mick and the family.
You got it. Thanks, EJ.
Thank you.
you.
Appreciate it.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Once again, I want to thank you, Mayor, and the Council for recognizing Captain Alton. He's an amazing person, and he does so much for Special Olympics Maryland. And so I really do appreciate you all taking the time to recognize him. So one of the things I want to go over, as everybody knows, school is back in session. So one thing I hadn't talked about previously was the school buses. Every year in the state of Maryland, there's over 1,000 kids that ride school buses. So something that's really important to me is driver safety when you're approaching a school bus. Most people just take it for granted. They see the buses and they think that they can outrun them. We ask that you do not do that. Please, just a few things to keep in mind. When you're approaching a school bus, if you see the bus starting to slow down, they will flash their lights yellow, so you know that they're about ready to stop, and then they activate their red lights when they are stopped. So please do not try to pass them, either if you're ahead of the bus or behind it. Don't try to go around the buses or try to beat them in front. The reason why we say that is lots of times kids are running late, so they're running to the bus. And many times that means they're also crossing the street, and they're not always paying attention. So please, you as the driver approaching, make sure that you do stop, because we don't want you hitting them. The other thing is, please also don't drive distracted. I know that you might have kids in your vehicle with you, and they might be screaming or hollering or whatever, or you're playing with the radio or whatever. But please do not drive distracted, because you will actually not pay attention to what is going on when it comes to the school buses. Also, don't assume that the kids that are waiting for the bus can hear you. In my neighborhood, there's several sets of kids at the bus stop at different times. The kids that are in high school, middle school, they've got the earbuds on, they're looking at their cell phones, they're not paying attention at all. I'm not even sure that they realize when the bus gets there. While the little kids, they're, horse playing and running around and stuff like that. And several times I've seen them, at least in my neighborhood, run into the street. So that's another reason why, as a driver, you should really pay attention to what's going on. Finally, and if you don't really pay attention to those things, the fine, if you are caught either on a school bus from the school bus cameras, is $250. If a police officer finds you in violation, it's a $570 ticket and 3 points. So choose wisely, folks. As I saw on a sign this weekend, give the kids a break. Just pay attention to the school buses. Also, one other thing, Council President Ringsacker, I don't know if your message is getting out or not, but we have issued, unfortunately, a lot of tickets in front of the stadium. I see you smiling over there. We don't like to do that either, but again, the kids are running across Juniata Street in between the cars that are parked on the yellow. The yellow is there because of line of sight and visibility, so please do not park there. One other thing I want to just discuss are scams. Over the last couple of weeks, we've seen an increase in scams for our seniors and also some of the people that aren't seniors. These seem to be more for computers. If a senior or somebody else is having problems with computers, or they are contacted by somebody who says that, hey, we see that there's a problem with your computer, or we've been contacted by your bank, and they have been monitoring what is going on your computer. In order for us to fix that, we want you to send to this account or that account a certain dollar amount. And unfortunately, many seniors fall for that because they are afraid, they don't know whether or not that's true or not. So over the last couple of weeks, some seniors have lost a substantial amount of money because they don't realize they're being scammed until after they've sent the money in. So please, if you don't understand or if you're confused or if you think you are having a problem, you can call us. We don't mind checking it out, verifying for you as much as we possibly can, or call somebody that you trust, another relative or a good friend, before you go ahead and send any information or deposit any money into somebody else's account. We don't want to see you lose any of that money at all, because it's very difficult, almost virtually impossible to recover that money. So please, please pay attention to that. With that, Mayor, that will be it for me.
Thank you very much, Chief. Council, any questions for the Chief? Council President, go ahead.
Chief, I want to say you guys are fabulous. I did announce at the rec football game this weekend, so I was in the booth. I love it because I have the loudest speaker system in Havre, Grace, and I can play my music, and I promise Councilman Boker that I'm going to play Elvis next time. So we have to figure that one out. But my son kept a tally of 11 times I announced that there's no parking there, and kept on asking people to move, and kept on asking people to move. So if they got a ticket, it's their own darn fault.
I agree.
I never once had to call or ask. You guys know that if there's games going on, you come out now. You're very supportive of the rec program and the kids, and just, it's a safety matter. I mean, I don't know how stupid you gotta be to park on a yellow curb across the street from a police department. So,
Fish in a barrel, what can I say?
yeah, I know, right? Gosh. But thank you, Chief, I really appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you, sir.
Councilmember Shenanigans?
Chief, thank you so much for reminding everybody about the buses. It is most certainly a change for the season. We have boats coming in during the summer, and now it's the school buses, but I appreciate it. And I also was curious if we will be getting a replacement sign across from the yellow zone where the crosswalk is.
Where, on Juniette? Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes, actually, yes, you are, or we are.
Okay,
Yes.
great, because I know that that's definitely a deterrent. It, people, they see it and it makes them alert to, that there might be someone getting ready to whiz across the street.
Yes, there is a replacement sign coming.
Great, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chief. Appreciate it. Go to item 16, business from the mayor's office. A lot of stuff, a lot of ordinances and resolutions tonight. Council did a great job explaining it. I'm just going to talk about a couple things coming up. Some fun things. We got our annual Waterfront Festival coming up this weekend here in Havre de Grace. It's getting bigger and bigger every year. The city celebrates its waterfront heritage this weekend. It's going to be a Friday and Saturday event down at the Concord Point Lighthouse. So just wanted to let you know, in case you don't know what's going to happen, Friday night from 5 to 10 down at the Lighthouse. Steel drum band, beer garden, vendors, and food trucks, pirate show at 6:30 and 9:30. And we're going to cap off the evening with our famous lighted boat parade, which you'll be able to see right off the point there from the lighthouse. That's always a really good time. And I'm normally a judge. This time, I'm going to be a boat participant. So we're going to dust off the cobwebs from the city yacht, and we're going to, the city's going to have a boat. Yeah, I bet a lot of people out there didn't know the city had a yacht. It's it's basically two pontoons welded together with a steel plate with a steering wheel that we use to fix the dock with. But I mean, it's go out on the open water at your own risk. But we'll put some lights on it and some flags, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if we're going to win first place, but I think the city should get in on this. But anyway, there's lots of boats. It's always fun.
You need a kayaker to pull you?
We would probably need a kayaker to spot us, yes, with that boat. I mean, yeah. So it's a joke. We call it the city yacht. But anyway. But then Saturday, the events are from 3 to 9. Live bands, food trucks, beer gardens again, entertainers, artisans, games. We got contests, exhibits, crafts for kid zones, bounce houses, land and water demonstrations, youth fishing derby, hands-on learning opportunities, chalk the walk art competition among local artists, face painting, the Nothing Up My Sleeve magic show, which is always a hit, the Little Mermaid show, merchandise and craft vendors, and a lot more. There will also be appearances by Pearl, the Live Mermaid, and Mona. The Pirate show is at 3 o'clock, 5:30, and 8 o'clock, and the festivities end on Saturday night around 8:30 with a fireworks show. So the city will be launching fireworks all around 8:30 this Saturday night. So hope everybody can make it. If you can't make it, look out your window to the east, southeast at 8:30 Saturday night, and you'll in for a show. So that's something that's really gained some traction. We're very proud of Bambi Johnson, her crew, and all the DPW staff and all the people that make it happen, especially our director of administration who works with the fireworks. And so it's a good event. We hope we can make it. And also one other thing too that is coming up next weekend, Saturday the 16th. Our first ever event we had at the Star Center as the city had it. Once the city took ownership of it, we took ownership of the Star Center from Hartford County Board of Ed in August of 2021, and our first concert we ever had in it was May of 2022, and it was a group called Almost Queen. Obviously, it's a Queen cover band, and they're hands down probably the most renowned, most famous Queen cover band in the country. Close your eyes and the music sounds just like it, and the lead singer looks like Freddie Mercury, sounds like him. Well, they were so good, and it was such a big crowd that they're coming back. We invited them to come back this Saturday night, the 16th. So it's at the Star Center. You can just go on the website to the starcenter.com. Tickets are very reasonable to go. There's still some tickets available if you are a fan of the music of Queen. So a lot of stuff going on in Havre. It's just a great time of year. We had a wonderful First Fridays last Friday night. The weather was fantastic. Good things going on. The shuttle's running great. Like I say, a lot of good things happening. The only downside was we lost a musical legend on September 1st, Mr. Jimmy Buffett. For those of us who, well, if you know, you know. You know, I mean, Jimmy Buffett is a lot of things to a lot of different people. And if you know, you know, and we were able to, regale his music downtown over the weekend. So anyway, with that said, I thank council for all their hard work. We had a lot of legislation to go through at this meeting, and I appreciate everything. So let's go to council comments. We're going to start this evening off with Councilmember Shenagas.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council and administration, citizens in the audience, and citizens at home. Yes, we have a busy weekend coming up, and I think it's great. School just kicked off, and there's activities to release all of the special energy for parents and kids alike. The Waterfront Festival is definitely wonderful. There is a very exciting 34-year celebration of the Children's Arts Commission. They have a festival every year, and it's great. It's at Tidings Park. It's from 11 to 3. They include children's art, and they have animals. They also have a magician. They have musicians too as well. Those kids are singing and enjoying themselves. So that's a great opportunity if you want to get away from the area down by the Concord Point Lighthouse and just get away or walk the promenade and come back and see what's going on. Check it out. Also, the same evening, the Seroptimus of Havre Grace, they're having a quarter auction fundraiser on Saturday, September 9th at 6 p.m. at the Level Volunteer Center. This benefits women and young ladies with scholarship opportunities. So if you have an opportunity to head down there, they would love to have you come join in and be a part of their auction. So also, in addition to that, we have coming up with our Marina Commission, we have a meeting on Wednesday, September 13th at 4:30 p.m. in the council conference room. And I just want to let people know that wonderful things have been happening down there this summer. And if you haven't had a chance to take a look at all of the new developments, come down, park and walk, and check it out, or ride the trolley. I wish everybody a wonderful weekend. Stay cool the best you can, and we'll see you in town. Back to you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Shenagas. Councilmember Robertson.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, fellow council members, city staff, ladies and gentlemen here and at home. It is a wonderful hour to be at council comments compared to the last couple meetings. Just a couple quick things. Number one is a big shout out to the Youth Commission for the August 26th Refuel for School event that took place down at Concord Point Park. There were more than 400 bags given out of school supplies to kids. The kids that showed up, from what I understand, had a great time. I was not able to make it due to another obligation, but I thank my fellow council members, Council President, Council Member Shenagas. Who else was there? Were you there? I was there. The mayor, yeah. Councilmember Boyer, yeah, I was looking in your direction. So everybody showed up but me. But I appreciate y'all being there and supporting that, and thank you for pitching in and helping the kids. Big shout out to all of the sponsors, Staples, Vulcan, Hartford Digital, Hartford Bank, the American Legion Auxiliary, the American Legion, and I'm sure that I'm forgetting a few. APG FCU, they came in at the last minute, so thank you to them as well. Next up is October 29th. Mark your calendars for a crab feast at the American Legion post number 47 here in Havre de Grace. So that's Sunday, October 29th from 1 to 4. Tickets are on sale now at the Legion Lounge. music by the Ken Miller Band, and of course a full buffet of things. They have kids prices as well. So October 29th, 1 to 4, down at the Legion Pavilion. Mr. Mayor, that's it.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Robertson. Good evening, Councilmember Booker.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I appreciate that. First of all, EJ, it's good to have you back here on the dais. It's good to see you, my friend. Condolences on that loss. It was definitely a tragic loss for all involved, and as well as the city. We lost a great asset there. Secondly, congratulations to Ms. Bridget Johnson. The expansion of the business district to Bomb Boys, that's an incredible feat. I know it's been going on for quite some time, and I'm happy to hear that. I'm also very happy to see this electric vehicle sitting out here in the parking lot. And I understand that's going to be a new addition once it gets tested and everything, and it's going to be on the road here helping out citizens. And I noticed it has a wheelchair lift on the back of it too. So that's fantastic. We're going to be helping out our disabled citizens get around town. That's fantastic. Mayor Martin, you're absolutely correct. There is a lot going on here within the city. You can easily go to explorehavredegrace.com. Explorehavredegrace.com. Laura Orvis does a fantastic job of updating the website. And there you'll see the Waterfront Festival, all the events from the 8th and 9th. Also, there's a citywide yard sale going on September the 9th. You'll see the information there. If you've registered a whole list of people, you'll see a couple of addresses. I might have some stuff out there for sale. I don't know. You'll also have a quick link there to the Star Center as well. I think the biggest thing right now is the Taylor Swift experience that's going on, farmers market information, and things of that nature. So it's a great one-stop shop. And I encourage citizens to actually go out there and attend it. On behalf of the Lighted Boat Tour, too, currently there are 17 boats that are registered. One of the great things about that, it starts at 8 o'clock, and the Susquehanna Hose Company fireboat actually leads the procession all across. And then I'm lucky again this year. I won't have the mayor beside me, but I'll be out there doing some judging. I like black licorice and milk chocolate, by the way. But anyway, the last boat in the line is going to be the Charlestown fireboat. So that's why you'll know that the procession is finished. The winners are actually going to be announced on Saturday, September the 9th at 5 p.m. at the Waterfront Festival. So, there you go, explorehavredegrace.com. It's a fantastic one-stop shop. And like I will do every evening when I'm sitting up here, I will always thank the police department, Susquehanna Hose Company, and EMT, first responders, for keeping us safe at night. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Booker, and good evening, Councilmember Jones.
Good evening, Mayor. Thank you, and good evening, council and citizens in the audience and also at home. I think it was about a week ago, Councilman Booker and I attended a ribbon cutting, and Bridget Johnson was there as well, for a new business on Market Street called Glam with Sam. And it was a pretty cute outfit. We went upstairs to the business, and I just want to, again, welcome her to Havre de Grace. The businesses, they provide a variety of beauty services, so if you have not heard of them, great addition, I think, to our community. This past Friday was a great first Friday. There were a slew of people, and I just think it keeps getting more and more exciting. And I'm looking forward to, I think we have our last one coming up in October. So folks, hopefully you'll come out to that one. I also like to be around town and see what other folks are doing in other communities. And this past weekend, I went out to the Caribbean Festival in Aberdeen. I thought it was awesome. There were lots of vendors, lots of families, lots of little kiddos playing around, and it was just the energy. And I thought, wouldn't this be great in Havre de Grace? I could just see it right by the water. So I know I would love to see more and more cultural activities in our community. So that was a great one, and if you were not able to be there, hopefully you can check it out next year. I will hope to see people at the Waterfront Festival. I will be there, and then we have coming up, and you want to make sure you get your tickets for the 3rd annual Susquehanna Wine and Seafood Fest. That's on September 23rd, and then on September 30th is the 60th annual art show. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Jones. Good evening, Councilmember Boyer.
Thank you, Mayor. First, to our DPW friends, I am so sorry for the passing of Beth. And to her family, thank you so much for sharing her life with us. Our city is definitely blessed to have colleagues who care so much about their city that they give time in their, I mean, having a family member come stay with them, and it's just wonderful to know that they are people who work for our city, who care that much about their jobs that they go out of their way, and unfortunately passing an untimely death. So thank you very much for expressing that to the other employees at DPW, and let them know that you know, we've all said prayers for them. Absolutely. I want to thank Community Projects, first of all, for everything they have ever done for this city. We had a celebration for them, celebrating 25 years. I'm looking towards Steve Gambatoria because Mr. Gambatoria is one of the founding members of this absolutely incredible organization. You know, I had said before in regards to Captain Alton that in Havre Grace, people come up with great ideas, and then we all get together and figure out how to make it happen. Well, one of the key ways we make things happen in this city is through the leadership of Community Projects. They have helped us make amazing things happen. I'm on the planning committee for the Thanksgiving Fest, and it's become a staple of not just Havre Grace, but of our region. And it's all thanks to being able to stand on the shoulders of great people like Steve, who create wonderful things. So thank you very much for helping make wonderful things happen in our community. I want to encourage everyone, if you feel the need tomorrow to stretch a little bit, to please come down to the Moore Family Homestead and do some yoga. It is to help support the Victory Garden, and Miss Denise Bloom has worked really hard on the Victory Garden, and it has produced lots and lots of wonderful vegetables. It is one of her passions. So if you love Miss Denise, please come out and show her your love and stretch a little bit for her as a fundraiser. It's from 6 to 8, again tomorrow, at the Moore Family Homestead. That's the corner of Lafayette and Market Street. I'm totally excited to hear about the Art Commission's new sculpture. And I want to publicly thank all of the members of that commission. I know they have, for some of them, decades given of their time and passion in support of this commission. And I do love the idea that their the grand finale for some of them, for all of their years of work, is going to be a sculpture that'll live and last within our memories of Havre Grace forever. So I think that's perfect. I'm very excited about it. And finally, I want to remind everyone that you have an opportunity to conserve energy tomorrow and save some money. So BGE is going to have an energy saving day tomorrow from 2 to 6 o'clock. You can earn up to $1.25 for every kilowatt hour you save. So either reverse your fans so that they go the opposite direction so you're not using as much air conditioning, or maybe go out and shop downtown and turn off all the air conditioning at home so that you can save money and shop downtown with all that money you're saving. So thank you. Good day.
You know, the problem with that is they always get you when you need your air conditioner on. You know what I mean? Like, the only time I ever really got them good, I was on vacation, nobody was home, so I just turned everything off, and I made like $25 in 4 hours on a credit. But like, it's always like, I want to turn it off. I'm like, oh, my son's home by himself. Like, you know.
It's a good day not to telework.
Yeah, BG, you know, energy savings day. I know they always get you when you need your air conditioner on. Thank you very much, Council President.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, council, people here watching, everybody from home. You know, I don't have much to say, but if I keep it under 2 hours and 50 minutes, I think that I'm not going to break last meeting. So this past weekend did go to the Susquehanna Hose Company Crab Feast. Had a wonderful time with the wonderful volunteers of the Susquehanna Hose Company and supported them. It was a great time, good fellowship with them. Currently football season right now. 2 weeks ago, we played, it was a team down in Baltimore. We whooped up on them pretty good. And then I thought that the season was going to go really, really good. And then last week, we lost to C. Milton Wright. So we'll see what happens. But this coming week, we're playing Patterson Mill on Friday night. But that's the last home game until October 27th. So if you want to come see Havre Grace football, you got to come this week or wait till it gets really cold at the end of the month, towards the time when we're going to Jason's Crab Feast. So you got that, and then next week they'll be in Aberdeen. It'll be Thursday on 9/14 at 5 p.m. So it's not their normal time. So if you want to see Havre Grace football, you can go see them in Aberdeen, but that's about all you got. I just want to touch base about just internet rumors and just conjecture and those misinformation we see online. There's so much of it. I'm so tired because we really work hard here with the Open Meetings Act to make sure that things aren't passed in secret. We can't even meet more than 3 of us in a room without the public there and discuss public business, because we actually pay attention to the Open Meetings Act. So it's upsetting when I hear people, say that we just passed a brand new law that nobody knows about moving your car, and which is brand new in the order of magnitude of 30-some years it's been on the books. A lot of stuff like people were upset about one of the ordinances tonight about adopting the truck and traffic recommendations, because they thought that we were going to cut back on the parking and do all kinds of modifications to the streets up in Grace Manor, because people just listen to rumors and don't actually go online to all the information where it's available on the Facebook page, on the city website, all our ordinances, all the work we've done, our YouTube channel. It's all available. It's all open. And you know what else is on the city website? Our phone numbers and our emails. And so if you got any questions, just shoot us an email. If you're mean and just rude, I won't respond. But if you just talk to me like a normal person, like you see me on the street, I'm going to give you all the information I have, because that's my job. That's what I'm up here for. That's why I ran for this office, is because I wanted to help this community and I want to get as much information out to people as I can. And I think I'm doing a good job. If I'm not, let me know. But don't believe the internet rumors. It's just disheartening when we work so hard up here, and it can all be destroyed by people complaining and bashing us online, saying the city is heartless and doesn't care about the trucks driving through up Grace Manor, when we literally created a work group just for that. And I'll end it with a quote from Plato. It says, "The price good men pay for indifference to public affairs is to be ruled by evil men." So it's up to you to pay attention. With that, Mr. Mayor, thank you.
Thank you very much, Council President. Okay, we're going to go to item number 18, which is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
Oh, I thought so. Councilmember Boker with the motion and Councilmember Jones with the second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. The December 5th, 2023 council meeting has now adjourned. The time is now 9:10 p.m. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you in a couple weeks.